for against. Now, what was your role? You were Minister of Finance. What was your role in the privatization process?
I think I arrived there at a time when the economy first was in very bad shape. We were going on a very negative trajectory. First 7 months, all the benchmarks that had been set up for ESAF were off course. And I had to work with my team at the ministry, my officials I found there, and try and restructure the program with the IMF. That was my demand as a leader. And the IMF agreed to renegotiate the program. And within 2 months, which is 60 days, we came up with a new program. On 2nd of September, we presented it to the IMF, and the IMF approved the new program. And we had an outturn from a negative 2% in 1998 to a positive 2% in 1999 for that year. Within the period of less than 5 months, we had to work very hard. I never rested. I never slept, to tell you the truth. I was running up and down. One of the key assets we had to deal with was how do we privatize the mines, the core packages of the mines. Things like Malaysia had been privatized and so on, but the key assets like Chingola, Ghana, and so on. And after the failure of Kafue Consortium some years back, there was no willing buyer anywhere. No willing buyer at all. The assets had begun to deteriorate. There was even asset stripping by managers in the mining companies. We were pumping in $1 million every month to keep them running. And we didn't have that money. We kept borrowing. Now, Mufulira was basically on maintenance, keep the water out. I was afraid my country was headed for collapse. So I went to Washington to discuss with Codeco, a Chilean mining house, and they said no. Because I heard that they were the ones who were willing to buy. And they said no. Their government at that time were faced with the battle with the unions, because Codeco is a parastatal, and they would not allow it to go and invest in other countries while it was also facing its own problems. And it was in Washington I received the proposal for Anglo-American, brought to me by Mr. Francis Kaunda and his team, the ZCCM privatization team. And I looked at that proposal. I praised that proposal. I looked at the report of the financial analyst by then Norman Bazima, who basically said we should go for the Anglo proposal at the rate they were offering. So I had to fly from Washington to Johannesburg to meet Mr. Oppenheimer to discuss this proposal in detail. I realized that his son was not willing to buy into our assets. And I was like, where else if this Anglo fails?
So it was now you as the minister,
yes,
taking the lead, negotiate to find a buyer.
Yeah, find a buyer. Of course, I was moving with my team, ZPA team representatives and Ministry of Finance representatives. But I had to go after they give me the proposal that this is what they have negotiated with Anglo. But there are these conditions. I had to go and confront Anglo on those conditions. I said, look, you made your money out of Zambia. My country is bleeding right now. Its life is being drained out. And if we don't privatize, we won't accede to HIPIC decision point. We won't have debt cancellation. The son says, but the econometrics of this says we are not.
Don't add up.
Yeah, that doesn't add up. It's in bad shape. And his father looked at him and said, no, son, the minister is right. we owe it to Zambia to go in there and help them out. It was a moral argument. It was not an economic argument that I had to make. After I said that, and his son shut up, basically. He was very authoritative in that statement to his son. And it had an emotional tone in it. He turned to me and said, "But Minister, you know that we're listed in London Stock Exchange. We're a British company. You have an opportunity to go to the British government and secure a facility which will be required to rehabilitate Nkana smelter, because we will need a smelter if we have to come in." And my son is right on that. So I had to fly back to London and meet Claire Short and Ari Barrington and others and the financial authorities, all those people that I spent this $8,400 on for cocktails and dinners and stuff like that.
You had this wallet which was which was unlimited.
No, it was very limited. I mean, 8,400 is a very limited amount provided through the intelligence system who were actually managing that account to organize the meetings for me to go. I didn't handle it myself. But the important thing is I secured the deal with the British government. Against OECD rules, the British government gave a grant to Zambia for on-land to Anglo to rehabilitate Nkana smelter, and thereby qualifying us to HIPIC decision point.
Now, as finance minister, like you say, you oversaw a lot of key privatization of key national assets. The mines, we've already spoken about them. And now the famous issue of Intercontinental Hotel. I have read the privatization report, 1992, 2005 report. On face value, looks very good. But then the issues have come up.
Yeah.
But you say it was done according to government and World Bank rules.
Yeah.
The privatization.
You see, let's understand that cabinet, the structure of privatization was very, very clear. Cabinet, through its committees of cabinet, had oversight, but the core responsibility of actual negotiation of the details of privatization was done by ZPA through its agencies that it was hiring. Okay? These were especially Zambian experts. And the due diligence had been done by the ZPA, I would assume, on the expertise of each particular firm that they had to recruit.